Do's and don'ts when pulled over by police in Canada. Don'ts after being stopped by the police. Seeing the red and blue lights flashing in the rearview mirror, even if I didn't do anything wrong, I couldn't help but feel nervous. There are 5 things to avoid at this time. 1. Do not get off the car. Park the car and leave it inside unless required by law enforcement to get off. Otherwise, actively getting off the vehicle may be seen as a threat, leading to escalation of conflicts, etc. 2. Don't speak. It is important for car owners to remain silent before law enforcement officers speak up. Not leaving a suspicious, aggressive, or anxious impression on the other party can also help prevent the situation from escalating. You can also use your own phone to record the process of communication with the police. 3. Disagree to search. Without reasonable reasons, law enforcement personnel cannot search vehicles at will. If they do so, the car owner has the right to refuse. Many Americans believe that refusing to search the police would lead to a search and may consider the driver guilty, but this is not the case. Refusing a vehicle search is the right of the owner and does not necessarily mean pleading guilty. Please remember that if the police suspect the owner of the vehicle is carrying a gun or weapon, the law allows the police to search the vehicle, but without permission or possible reasons, they cannot search the vehicle. However, the court tends to follow the opinions of the police on reasonable grounds and consider it a legitimate search. Although any evidence generated by illegal searches may not be allowed as evidence in the trial, everything depends on the specific situation. 4. Do not reach out for anything. Car owners should keep their hands visible to law enforcement personnel at all times. Do not reach out for anything, including insurance or driver's license, until requested by the police. Going to the center console and touching things in the bag may be suspected of carrying weapons, putting law enforcement personnel in a defensive state. 5. Don't argue. Although you should not be a doormat, you must also try to remain calm, respectful, and cooperative as much as possible. Road rage can lead to increased punishment and hinder the reduction of sentence. You can write down the names of law enforcement personnel. Standard action for being stopped. 1. Pull the vehicle over as quickly and safely as possible. Slow down, turn on the turn signal, and then find a nearby parking lot or wide shoulder to stop on the right. Take out the key and place it on the dashboard. If driving alone late at night, have the right to drive to a well-lit area, such as a gas station. You can call 911 to inform them that you are being stopped by the police and have them convey on your behalf that you want to drive to a well-lit area. 2. Lower all windows, turn on all interior lights, place both hands on the steering wheel, and do not unfasten the seat belt. Unlocking the seat belt in advance will give the other party the impression of attempting to escape, and may result in fines. 3. Ask for permission before touching anything. Law enforcement officers usually require the production of driver's licenses, registration certificates, and insurance certificates, and slowly remove these items after seeking permission to act. Previously, law enforcement personnel had no obligation to explain the reasons for the stoppage. 4. Stay calm and answer briefly. When referring to law enforcement personnel as officers, they all have their own law enforcement recorders and may ask, "Do you know why they were stopped?" This is to extract information that law enforcement personnel may not be aware of. Here are some standard answer cases. Do you know why you were stopped? No. Do you know how fast you're driving? I know. If the answer is not known, it means that you do not know the speed limit or driving speed. If you really don't know, you can say, "I think I was going around X speed." Do you have sufficient reasons to rush? No. If there is, even if there is no speeding, it will be considered speeding and it is likely to receive a ticket. Have you been drinking? If you haven't drunk, say you haven't, but you need to inform the other person if they are taking medication or have a disease that may cause driving problems. If law enforcement personnel discover a bottle or smell alcohol, they may request a breath alcohol test. Without a search warrant, one cannot be forced to undergo an alcohol test, but according to the implied consent law, refusing to undergo the test will result in immediate arrest and revocation of the driver's license. 5. What situations may lead to arrest? The police witnessed the crime with their own eyes. The police have a legitimate reason to arrest this person. When there are reasonable reasons to believe that someone has committed or is about to commit a crime based on facts and circumstances. If arrested, first ask yourself if you can leave. If the other party says no, then ask the reason for the arrest, and then shut up and stop speaking. But under no circumstances should you resist arrest, otherwise you may face more charges. Remember, until proven guilty, you are innocent. All defenses are handed over to lawyers and prosecutors, and the judge is persuaded to withdraw or reduce the charges. At this point, the police can body search and clothing. Search for personal belongings. Require on-site alcohol testing. Ask questions. But car owners do not need to answer and have the right to remain silent. Please remain calm and do your best to cooperate with the police officer. Your rights when stopped by the police, in Canada. Your rights are enshrined in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's important to know your legal rights when dealing with the police. These rights form part of the foundation of our legal system and are in place to protect your privacy and liberty. A failure to know and utilize these rights can lead to their erosion and put you in greater legal jeopardy. When can I be stopped by the police? There are 3 general circumstances under which a police officer may stop you. If they see you committing a crime. If they suspect you have committed a crime. If you are driving. Unless you have been arrested or detained by the police, you are free to go. This can be done simply by asking the officer if you are under arrest or detained. If the officer say no, you may leave. If the officer says yes, ask for what you are arrested or why you are being detained. You have the right to be informed why the police are arresting or detaining you. Do I have to answer questions asked by the police? In most cases, you are under no obligation to answer any questions asked by the police. This is your right to silence, or right to not self-incriminate. However, always maintain a friendly and polite attitude while dealing with an officer. If you have been pulled over by the police when you are driving, the police are typically allowed to ask you questions regarding your driver licensing, registration, and insurance. The police are tasked with ensuring roadway safety, including ensuring that you are not impaired by drugs or alcohol, and that your vehicle is mechanically safe to drive. The police may ask to see your driver's license, car registration, and insurance. If any of these documents are in the glove compartment, be sure to tell the officer that you are reaching for the document before doing so. You are required to provide this information by law, and a failure to comply may result in you being charged with an offense. If the police suspect you have been drinking alcohol or have been impaired by a drug, the officer may ask you to conduct a field sobriety test, provide a breath, or provide a saliva sample to determine if you are under the influence. If you fail or refuse to comply with the request, you will be criminally charged for failing to provide a breath or saliva sample. If the test come back positive, the officer may arrest you for impaired driving. If you have been arrested or detained by a police officer, it's your right to be informed of the reason for the arrest or detention. The officer is also obligated to inform you that you have the right to speak with a lawyer and to give you an opportunity to do so before asking you questions. Whatever the situation, it's important to consult with a lawyer before answering any of their questions. Can the police search my car? The police cannot search your car when they pull you over. However, they are allowed to look in the windows of your car, and may use a flashlight during the night to do this. If they see an illegal substance in your vehicle in plain view, they will place you under arrest and then have the ground to search your vehicle for officer safety and for the purpose of their investigation. Can the police search me? The police generally don't have the power to search you, unless you have been placed under arrest or if you have consented to be searched. If the police insist on searching you, make it clear to them you do not consent. However, do not resist or fight, as this will likely result in you being arrested and criminally charged. If the search was conducted illegally, your lawyer will be able to address the issues afterwards. The police may temporarily detain you if they suspect you are involved in a crime. They are not permitted to conduct a full body search, but only a pat-down for officer safety. During this detention, you are not required to answer any of their questions. If you are arrested, the police have the power to search you and anything you are carrying, such as a bag, purse, or backpack. If you have been arrested in your car, the police have the power to search your car as well. The purpose of the police search upon arrest is to ensure the safety of the officers and the public, to uncover evidence related to the offense, and to prevent the destruction of evidence. What if the police come to my home? If the police come to your home, you are not required to answer the door, or allow them entry. You must only allow them entry in the following circumstances. They have a warrant to enter and arrest. They have a warrant to enter and search. They have an urgent reason to enter your home. Entry is necessary to prevent death or serious injury. What if the police have a search warrant? A search warrant is granted to the police by a judge when they have present reasonable grounds to believe that evidence of a crime will be recovered during a search of a property. The search warrant allows the officers to search your home and take certain items that they find. The officer will seize all items that are illegal or that otherwise may be used as evidence to prove an offense. In the course of executing a search warrant, the police must identify themselves and ask your permission to enter. At this time, the officer should present you with a copy of the search warrant. If they do not, politely ask to see a copy of the search warrant. The warrant will contain information with respect to the suspect's name, address of the search, and time limits for when the search warrant must be executed. If the warrant is not valid or contains inaccurate information such as with respect to the address, you may refuse to allow them entry. If you refuse, they may still enter your residence without your permission. Any attempts to prevent an officer from entering your home may result in the police charging you with obstructing a police officer. Property seized by the police may become the subject of a forfeiture proceeding, or evidence in a case against you. If a forfeiture order is not granted for seized items, they are to be returned to you at the conclusion of your legal proceedings. If the seized property is not returned, you may contact a lawyer to assist with this process. What if I am arrested? Do I have to answer police questions? Upon arrest, it is your right to be promptly advised of the reason for your arrest. If you have been arrested and are unsure of the reason, you may politely ask the officer the reason for your arrest. You also have the right to speak to a lawyer immediately. If you don't have a lawyer, the police are required to connect you to one for free and provide you a telephone in order to make the call. The call to the lawyer should be conducted in privacy. The police must not ask you any questions until you have completed your call. When being questioned by the police, you do not have to answer any of their questions. This is your right to silence.